Hello, and congratulations on your election to president or vice president of your Key Club. My name is Jenalee Beazley. I'm your Southwest District Governor, and I'm so excited to be going through this journey of service with you this year. I'm just going to go through the handout that you should have in front of you and give you some hints and some tips and guidance on how you can run a successful year. And if you have any questions, ask your Lieutenant Governor after the presentation. So let's get started. We're going to go through the duties and responsibilities first, and I'm just going to group them together mostly. So the first two, we're talking about delegating and then committees. So the relationship between the vice president and the president is going to be dependent on delegating. So the president, you cannot take everything on yourself. You're going to have to lean on your vice president, give them a lot of responsibilities to do so that they're not left watching you do all the work. And then you're also going to want to have your committees, and your committees should be made up of your membership. That's a good way to get them involved, and you should also attend all your committee meetings and be a part of your committee. Make sure they're still following their directives that should be written by you as the president or vice president, and make sure they're on track to their goals and the goals of the club. Moving on to evaluating and then goal setting. So you should set goals in the beginning of the year after you evaluate your past year, and then throughout the year you should evaluate your track going on to these goals. So your committees are going to help you with your goals. So if you're attending your committee meetings and you're following their directives, you're going to be able to see how they are working towards your goal as a club. And you're going to want to do this monthly to make sure that your goals are still relevant to the club. So there's that. Okay, so you're going to want to motivate your members as well as your committee chairs and your committee members so that they are really passionate about what you want to see your club do. And then they're going to be 10 times more likely to work on what you want them to work on and follow the directives. So motivating your club can be as much as throwing a party every once in a while at one of your meetings, or just going over your goals again, or bribe them with like candy or anything like that. That's going to motivate them to keep working really hard. And then you're going to want to make sure that each club and board meeting is well planned and organized. This way people know that they're not wasting their time when they go to the club meetings. You want to see as much as your membership there as possible, but also be flexible, because we're a service organization. If you're not doing service at your board meetings, that's okay if they don't want to come to all your board meetings, even if they're still going to the service projects on the weekends or other days that you have the service projects. But make sure that the meetings are still planned and organized, so people aren't showing up and not knowing what's going on or what they're doing, so that they're not inclined to go home or not come back. So make sure you have a clear objective of your meeting. Make sure you have a presentation, a PowerPoint, or anything like that to make sure it runs smoothly. Also delegate who makes the PowerPoints, or bring people up to talk at your meetings so you know that the membership is involved and also your other board officers are involved. And then problem solving. Make it apparent that you really care about what happens to your club. So when a committee comes to you and they're like, we really don't know what we're going to do about this, you actually take a personal interest in helping problem solve. That's really what I think this duty means. And also whenever your officers come to you, or whenever your members come to you, anybody comes to you with a problem, you're actually going to put a personal effort in to solve their problem. Not just say, okay, we'll go talk to somebody else because I don't want to help you right now. That's really what's going to make your job personal. And then recruiting and retaining membership. This is something on the district level we've actually been talking a lot about, and we encourage every one of you to assign a committee or at least a chair to a recruiting position, so that you throughout the year are recruiting and finding resources on how to recruit, and then improving recruitment for the next year. And then also that goes along with retaining membership. So you, like I said earlier, you don't want people to feel like they're wasting their time. Retain the membership. I know graduation is a hard thing, that you can't keep those members, but try and at least break even with the new freshmen coming in. If that's not, that should be one of your goals. If that's not happening, then make that one of your goals. And if it is happening, then say, okay, we want twice as many freshmen as we had seniors. And then reporting. This is huge to the district board. Your LTG has probably already emailed you a lot about the officer certification forms, the secretary treasurer reports, and those officers that are supposed to fill those out will learn about them in their training video. But for right now, all I want to tell you about it is to make sure that it's turned in. If this means that they need to turn it into you and you turn it into the lieutenant governor, or if that means that you just check up on them. But make sure they're being turned in, because you're the face of the club, and it's your responsibility to make sure that the face of your club is being represented well and doing all the duties that your club needs to do, and it'll reflect good on you and your club as a whole. So make sure you're reporting. If you're unaware of the reports you need to turn in, it's secretary reports, treasurer reports, the officer certification forms. Once you turn those in, you don't need to turn those in again. And then the club evaluation sheets, which are new, and all the forms can be found on the website. And the club evaluation sheets evaluate how your lieutenant governor is helping you, and those are sent straight to me, Jenalee Beazley, at my email swdkcigov@yahoo.com, and I'll give you all that information again at the end of the video. Then also the succession, and prepare for the next year's president. This is leaving a legacy, and this is very important on the club level, the district level, and the international level, because you don't want the next board to come in blind or to come in and just undo everything you just did. So maybe setting goals that are long lasting or that you want to see over time. Maybe just writing a letter to your next president or your next club officers saying what you want them to do or what you've worked on this year. And I think a lot of times just archiving what you're doing is a really good way to make sure that what you did this year isn't lost in the next year. And then training club officers. This is going to be a year-long thing. You're not going to go in, even you as president or vice president are not going to go in knowing everything about your job. Every single one of your officers, as well as you guys, are going to have to learn throughout the year, learn the hints and the tips that just come with having the job. But you can work a lot with your lieutenant governor to get resources from the website about how to train your officers. I think that having the monthly officer board meetings is going to be really helpful in giving them the directives that they need to move on in the next month and improve upon their job throughout the whole year. So now let's just go through the checklist. This should be on the next page of your handout, and it's going to start with the weekly duties. And I'm not going to go through every single one of them because a lot of them are very broad and you should know. So the meetings, the regular Key Club meetings, like I said before, they should be organized, plan in advance. What I would suggest is just creating a system now with your vice president and sticking to that system for the rest of the year. So when I was vice president, my president and I switched off who did the PowerPoint every week, and that worked for us. So if that is what you guys want to do, or if you want to delegate it further to your other officers, but just make sure you have a system in place so that your weekly meetings are planned. And the agenda that goes along with that, that's the second one. And then the tasks for the officers for the meetings. That's going to be another thing that you're going to do to improve your meetings. Again, like I said before, just talk to your officers, make sure they know what they should be doing at the meetings. A lot of times they have a head table where all the officers sit at, and the secretary takes notes, and the treasurer reports on anything that you guys talked about financially. Just make sure they know what they should be doing during meetings so they're not just sitting there. Lead the membership in a well-rounded program of activities and projects. This is how you want to plan it. This isn't necessarily a weekly duty, because if you don't have a service project every week, that's fine. But the meeting should have some sort of an activity, and the project should be bi-weekly at least. But as long as you're engaging your membership on a weekly basis, so you're talking directly to the membership, you're playing an icebreaker with the membership, anything to keep the membership involved on a weekly basis is going to retain membership as well as recruit new members, because it looks like you guys are doing a lot and having fun, and people don't feel like they're wasting their time in Key Club. Meet with your faculty advisor. Yes. I would star this one 3 times. Meeting with your faculty advisor as well as your Kiwanis advisor on a weekly basis is the #1 thing you can do to improve your club overall, because your faculty advisor and your Kiwanis advisor have been around a lot longer than all of us, and they know what's going on. So if you have an idea, they're going to be your most valuable resource. So make sure you keep them in the loop and they keep you in the loop on things that are going on. I think that you should talk to your faculty advisor as much as you can. If they're at your school, then just stop by their classroom, like whenever you can. Call your Kiwanis advisor, and if you don't have a Kiwanis advisor or a faculty advisor, get in touch with your lieutenant governor and figure out how you can better your relationship with your advisors, or actually find an advisor. Ensure at least 2 members of your club are attending a Kiwanis meeting. So this is going to be a difficult responsibility, and one that most clubs don't follow, because a lot of the Kiwanis clubs have to pay for the meals at their meetings. So having 2 members from Key Club go to a weekly Kiwanis meeting is going to be very difficult. I would suggest to have it, if you cannot get 2 members every week, try and get at least 2 members every month. I would move that one actually down into the monthly duties. That's just something that we're working towards, but I think to set more reasonable expectations on you guys, that should be moved down to the monthly. You yourself should attend as many Kiwanis meetings as possible. Again, if you don't know who you're sponsoring Kiwanis is, if you don't know if you have a Kiwanis advisor, then you should talk to your Lieutenant Governor as soon as possible right after this presentation, and they should help you talk to your sponsoring Kiwanis, and that should all get straightened out. Make sure each officer is aiding the committee which she is assigned. So again, this just goes along with what you're planning on doing for your committees and delegating responsibilities. It may be that you don't assign every officer to oversee a committee, and it may be that you do so. If you choose to do so, yes, check up on the officers, but if you choose not to do so, that's okay if you're just overseeing the committees. But then look at making sure that your officers know what they're doing. That's again just going back to the assigning officers, make sure they're on task, and monitoring how your club is doing. Keep a file of all correspondence. I already talked about this. This is going to be really helpful for the next year's board that comes in and they know what they're doing. It's also going to be helpful when you're filing an achievement report at the end of the year, which I'll talk about at the end. Work alongside board members to ensure they're doing their tasks. Again, just monitoring your board members, checking in. I think the #1 thing on a weekly basis that the presidents can do is just make sure everybody knows that you're there still and you don't disappear for a few weeks. So yes, engage your membership in activities, check up on your board officers, check up on your committees, and make sure everybody's still on task on a weekly basis. So now let's go on to the monthly duties. Arrange the board meeting. I talked about this a little bit earlier. The officer board meeting is going to be very important when you guys are all collaborating and working together and assigning the directives for the officers, making sure they know what they're going to do. I think that you should have your agenda made up of what your officers want to talk about. So yes, assign your directives and give your report as president and vice president, and then ask your other officers what they'd like to talk about during this time. This gives them a voice and also builds better relationships between all of you guys. Work with your committee chairs. Again, it depends on if you're having seasonal committees or if you're having weekly meetings with committees or if you're having monthly committees. But one thing that I think you should do is give directives to your committees at least on a monthly basis. So you have your overall directives for your committees and what your committee wants to do, like their goals, and then you should give them directives to reach their committee goals on a monthly basis, if that makes sense. Your lieutenant governor is going to be really helpful in figuring out how your relationship's going to be with your other clubs. And as president, it's going to be a really good idea to build off your other presidents in your division and talk to them. Yeah, you should talk to them on a monthly basis. That's the interclub. And then we're going to go on to the annual duties. The annual duties are going to be more focused on a broader sense. So work towards the net increase of membership. That's going to go back to the recruitment duties and responsibilities. And just the annual duty that goes with that is tracking how much recruitment you've done, or figuring out so the next board can look at it, evaluate it, and then set their goals. Receive help and information from the past president. So again, the legacy going through, you should ask your president, talk to them actually on a monthly basis and figure out what your club did last year or the inner workings of your club last year. Review all Key Club educational materials, and this is just looking over what you did this year to educate your members, to educate your board members, and then make it better for the next year. A lot of this is just looking back on what you did and then what you can do in the future. Establish good Kiwanis family relations. This is going to be continuous throughout the year, but going to those Kiwanis family meetings and the Kiwanis meetings monthly or weekly if you choose to do that. Review your membership roster, inform committees, conduct elections for class directors and representatives. So a lot of clubs don't do class representatives. If you do, then yes, but also just do your officer elections. And if you elect officers in August, then you should try and move your officer election to May or April, because the Key Club year actually starts May 1st for international, and we start collecting information May 1st. So if you have your elections in April, that would be really awesome, and that would help the district out a lot in getting our information. Then plan service over the summer. This is something that is really important, because a lot of times people say, oh, it's the summer, we're not going to do anything. But if you as president plan your year to go through the summer, then you're going to have a lot more service project events, and you're going to see a lot more involvement during the summer. You'll be surprised. I think most of the rest of the responsibilities are just looking back, really evaluating, writing up what your club did, was successful in, what they failed in, and then giving that on to the onto the new president, and you becoming past president, also being a mentor to that new president is going to be really good responsibility on your part. The annual achievement report is going to be something that is really a good way to monitor how your club did this past year. So the achievement report is something that we give out as the district. You fill out based on how you guys did this year, what you guys did this year, and then turn it in. We'll evaluate you. You may qualify for an award at DCON. If you do, you'll get some sort of a trophy or ribbon. And if you don't, that's okay. You use the achievement report to look at what you did this year and then what you can improve on to maybe qualify for those awards. The achievement report can be found online, and if you have any questions about it, your lieutenant governor is going to be the best resource. Your club can send 2 delegates to represent your club at district convention or international convention, but trick question, because it's now called District Education and Leadership Conference, not district convention. But nothing has changed except for the name. It's the exact same thing, just with a different name, so that principals will be more likely to let you off school to attend. So that's something to make note of when you're thinking about who can attend and how many people can attend. And international convention is the same. Okay, and then the public relations committee chair that will send in to the district publication in the Key Club magazine. This is something that your bulletin editor is going to oversee, and if you have any questions about how to go about that, you can email her, and your bulletin editor or historian will be learning more about that in the bulletin editor training video. Sending delegates to DCON and ICON is really important to improve attendance, and also so that your club's voice is heard at both of these things. And then plan at least one social activity. And this is the fun thing that you can do as president. Go bowling, have a pizza night, a pool party, a banquet. Anything you can think of counts as this if you guys just come together as a club and celebrate your service. You can even work in a service project, like everybody bring 2 cans or something for a food drive. So this is the fun thing. That's the last of your annual responsibilities. And with that, I bid you adieu. This year is going to be really awesome. If you have any questions, please make sure you talk to your lieutenant governors and you talk to me. You can email me or anybody on the board at all. And just to give you a little bit of information, our district board, you should be knowledgeable in the district board, and our district board has 3 committees right now: public relations and membership education, the DCON committee, and the Board of Service Committee. So if you have any questions regarding any of their directives or regarding who's on the committees, you can go on the website or email us. And the website for the district is swdkeyclub.org. The international website is keyclub.org. And I am looking so much forward to hearing from all of you guys and seeing what you accomplished this year here in the Southwest. And also, just to clarify a little bit, the presidents have their own handout that you should have been following on also, but they really go hand in hand, and the delegating that I talked about earlier is what is going to happen between you guys to figure out the duties of the vice president and the president. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope I get to meet you in the future. Tell everyone hey on your board and in your club from me, and read my newsletters when they come out, and have a great day and great year.